What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stove Talk. This is going to be extremely quick. I've actually been a little absent from Stove Talk and Stoveaholics for quite some time now, and from YouTube as well. For those of you who are joining us on Stove Talk, I also do a video for YouTube, and those of you who are joining us on YouTube, I also do a live feed to the members of Stoveaholics on Facebook. So basically, I haven't been very present, shall we say, in social media, basically because I'm in the process of moving and selling this house. I've actually come down to the shop now to take everything out of here to move to a storage unit because my house is going on the market in between selling the house and buying another house, which is kind of a stressful ordeal. But that being said, being here in the shop and looking at all the stoves and things that I love, and people who are constantly contacting me every day and commenting on things that I post from a long time ago, my mind got going, and so I want to let you guys in on a couple things. One, things that are to come, and things that I'm working on, and things that you know, that I'm kind of in the middle of right now. I will be doing a giveaway when I come back, you know, to be more specific when I come back. When I come back regularly, things that'll be on the giveaway will be like the 180 stove and the 180 flame from TAC 180, or 180 TAC. Also, I have things like the sprongs from Merkwares, you know, just a bunch of stuff like that. But also, I'll be showing other things like the Brennerle stove, the ultralight stove from Germany. This is an amazing stove. Tobias, the gentleman who created the stove, is I actually got a little bit of my fire starter on it, so it's a case, whatever. But Tobias is actually a pretty brilliant man, and it takes him one day for one stove. So I'll be getting more into that here in the future. Also, from Richard Collier, I have the Chudlow stove. This is a flat pack gasification stove. I did post a couple pictures of this on Instagram. I did post a couple pictures of it in Stoveaholics. Now, the cool thing about this stove, Bosmer Bushcraft, if you go to the YouTube channel, he actually has a short video of him showing off his stove. I do have the history of how the stove came to be, and it's so interesting, and it's a fun stove, so I'm excited to show this off. I have not burned it in wood, or burned it with wood yet, but I have used it with alcohol, used it with solid fuel. I did make an addition for it. So this stove came from being a gasification stove to being a multi-fuel stove. I will be showing this also, and look at this case. I mean, this is heavy duty. This is heavy duty. And other things, obviously, to come, which I've been questioned a lot about, the Coffey spit. I'm working on this with Steve Despain over at Firebox Stoves, and just a lot of stuff kind of needs to come together for it, and we are working on that, you know, as far as being able to mass produce it for everybody. And so this is something I'm really excited about, and it's interesting because with the Coffey spit, you'll be able to get to camp, gather your wood like you normally would do when you're setting up a camp. But if you're there in the daytime, it kind of puts everything in a nice slow motion mood, you know, kind of just takes all the stress away. You know, you set up a small fire, set up your stove, whatever you want to do with it, set your spit up, put your meat on there. I mean, if you want to roast vegetables on it, you can do that as well. You know, you put your spit up, you get the fire going, set up camp, casually walk over, make sure everything's good, give it a small turn. I did put 4, if you see that, that is square stock on there. The reason why I used 4 and not a nut would have, like, you know, 6 or 8 positions, or even 12 positions, you know, for for some other types of nuts that are out there on the market was because I think that 4 positions is simple. I think it's sleek, and you'll get 360-degree coverage. There's a lot of different aspects and things that I have gone with to try to do this, but overall what I wanted to do was simplicity and packability. So that is why I came up with this design. So, moving on. I was also questioned and asked about, which always, it never fails, it always comes up, my heavy cover kit. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I know heavy cover canteen may not be for everybody, but for me, it was an option that I grew into. I started out with the USGI stainless steel. Actually, I started out with an aluminum cup first, and then I went to the stainless steel, and then eventually I upgraded to the titanium. It was a choice that I made for myself, and I don't want anybody to feel that I'm pushing this on you, because I'm not. Okay, I'm most certainly not. I just like it, and it's my personal kit that I use all the time. So I use it a lot, not because I'm like, hey, get this, hey, use this. No, hey, this is my channel, or this is my video, this is what I use, this is how I use it, check it out. If you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But I got just a recent comment on one of my videos where I was using, actually making the pizza in my heavy cover titanium skillets. I like the titanium, you know, and I like the heavy cover stuff. But somebody had asked me if it was possible to do that not using titanium, because it is on, you know, it's on the higher end. Okay, so I think that you'd be able to do the pizza the same way as if you use like the GSI Bugaboo skillet. Okay, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do this and put just a cheap aluminum pie pan or pie plate right on top of it. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that. You just have to flip it. You wouldn't be able to, you know, flip-flop it. This is $19.99 at most outfitter stores, so that's an option. If this is something you want, it is heavier. It's heavier duty, but it's a good skillet. Okay, so that's an option. Another thing is, people had also commented on this, on my mother kit from Centerline Systems for my heavy cover. This is something that I really wanted. It was something that I personally liked. I enjoyed seeing all the pictures out there of it, so I got it. Now, being a parent, yeah, one of my children, they do have the heavy cover kit, okay, but he likes the haversack design style. He went through the stainless steel canteen cup before. I would get him something like this, but not everybody's in that budget or in that price range, and I understand that. So for my youngest son, who loves this pouch, I went and picked up, it was a $25 pouch when I got it, from One Tigress. As you can see, there's some differences, but for a child, there's not a lot. What he wanted was to wear it like Daddy wears his. He wanted to hold his bottle and keep his canteen kit in there and put some fire starters and stuff like that. And he can put more in here if he wants to. But the point is this is an option that's good for a child. Okay, versus, you know, spending out or forking out a lot of money when your children are just getting into it, or when your children are obsessed with the outdoors like mine are, but maybe your budget's not up to their obsessions, you know. As an adult, I know that I take care of my stuff. I know that I'm going to be keeping this for a long time. I've already had it, you know, for quite some time now. These right here, what you're seeing, are actually for my gear roll, which is right here. I was just actually, if you can see that, I was just actually going through my stuff, because like I said, I'm packing some stuff away. I'm not packing my normal main kit away just because I'm not going to do that. But getting back to my son's deal, the only problem that my son has with this is he's not a fan of this bottle. So he wears them bandolier style. He wears one over one shoulder, one over the other, and he'll bring this with him for his extra water. But basically, like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm moving. And the best thing is where I'm moving to, I have literally a big shop, a big outbuilding. I'm moving outside of town. I have a big outbuilding which I'll be able to bring my bikes in, bring in a kayak, bring in a canoe, show that stuff to you guys, and also set my stoves up in display so you can actually see how many stoves I truly have. And it's because I love them. Now, also, there's more. I have the Solo Stove Titan that I've yet to show anybody because I have not had the time. I've got the Silver Fire Stove down here, which I actually even have the food and everything ready to go for this kit as well. Basically, I've just got a lot to show you. So when I do come back from this whole transition of moving, I've got stuff from, man, everywhere. I've got canvas bags that I've been using, you know, to hold a lot of different titanium kit. You know, working with different companies who make things. You know, I don't want to get in too much depth just because I've got a lot of stuff. I've got fire starters. You know, the mini mites from Lone Cedar Outdoors are actually on their way right now, which is really good because for somebody like me who a lot of times will use a smaller stove like this Firebox Nano TI, the mini mite, if you guys know what the mini mite is, if you don't, go over to Lone Cedar Outdoors, check out Fire Mite and Mini Mite. I also did a video on the Fire Mite. It's just a little too large for this. In fact, it fills up the whole burn chamber, and you wouldn't be burning on any wood, you would be burning just on the fire starter only, which I guess wouldn't really be too bad, but you're not going to get to feed your stove. For those of us who are obsessed with wood stoves, we like to feed them. Other things that I'm going to be talking about, besides just the whole stove, you know, business, would be options for people out there, balancing your gear, balancing your kit, putting a kit together or putting a pack together based on your stove. Because like I've said before, a lot of people who put their gear together put their adventure in mind. Well, I'm kind of the other way around. I know what stove I want to use. Where can I go? What can I do to use the stove? I'm going to say I do that 9 times out of 10. The other times, if I'm planning a big trip, I have to think, okay, well, I'm going to go 30-some miles for a hike. Am I going titanium? Do I want to use a steel stove? Because I've gone on a large hike and taken a steel stove, but I had to lighten up my gear elsewhere. So those are going to be some other things that we are going to be talking about. Power options. You know, there's things like the BioLite stove, which will charge your accessories while you're burning them, and the new BioLite V2, their version 2 that has come out, is significantly better. I think it'll be really good for the people who have Samsung. I have iPhone, but Samsung, I noticed, is harder to charge when you use something like the BioLite or when you use something like the Goal Zero Nomad, because you can't charge directly off of it. You have to charge into a backup charger like this and then charge in from it. I don't think that's necessarily the same now. With the version 2, I think you can go right to those, but don't sell me on that, or I'm not selling you on that because I'm not 100% sure. But oh, it's okay, Paul. Paul says good morning. You're working. Hey, you know what, Paul? I get it. Watch it later, or I'll have the video on YouTube, buddy. We'll talk to you later. I want to talk to you guys about bringing different types of first aid kits, because when you are working with stoves, you could potentially get burned, or staying safe, bringing other options as far as different types of multi-tools to keep yourself away from the fire. Those are things that all kind of go hand in hand with it. And also some things to come will be, in my area there's a lot of no burn rules, not because of forest fires, but because of animal reserves, and because of just the general areas that they're in. They don't want them. They don't want a fire in that area. So contained fire can be used, and I have asked park rangers if it is possible. We were in Flaming Gorge National Park, and when we were there, there were all these big signs that said no fire, no camping, you know, all this other stuff. We asked the park ranger right there. I was like, well, this says no fire. And I pulled out my stove. I think at the time I was using the Bushcraft Essentials Bushbox TI, the smaller one. And I asked him, what about this stove? Put it together in front of him. I said, would this be considered an open fire or a contained fire? And he told me right out of his mouth, I would consider that a contained fire. You are clear to use it. So right out of his mouth, I took that as a good and as a go ahead. But you know, those are some of the things that we're going to visit, and I'm also going to be able to set up, because in the videos when I do this, you can't see my bench. My bench is over here, but it's dark over there. And I did get some lighting gifted to me from a friend of mine, which is really cool. Thanks, Raphael. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not going to build anything over here now, just because, well, this house is going to be sold soon. So everybody, thank you for all the support that you have given me over time, and thank you everybody for coming to Stoveaholics and enjoying the Facebook group. And hey Mike, what's up buddy? And thank you so much for just really the support from YouTube and, you know, everything. When I come back, I am going to do a giveaway, just because it's been a while since I've done a giveaway, and the members of Stoveaholics will know about the giveaway first, because that's, you know, no offense to anybody, but Stoveaholics are kind of my peeps, you know, they're my people. But anyway, it will be open to both. I'm just messing around. But Stoveaholics, yeah. Hey Jeremy, how's it going, buddy? Jeremy Woodward. I can kind of see my messages going across, but my light over here is, wow, it's bright. It's bright. There we go. But anyway, I really do. I appreciate all the support and you guys contacting me on Facebook and Messenger. I'm an overly nice guy. Sometimes I'm a little too nice. So if you do contact me and you start talking about stoves, I'm going to warn you now. It can be a long conversation, because I like stoves. All right? I do. I like stoves, and I like to talk about them. And there's just some really, really good things that are happening, that are coming along. As far as stoves, again, the house that I'm buying is actually on purpose right off of one of Iowa's longest nature trails for bikes. So there will be more bike packing and stove kits to go along with bike packing, because besides stoves, I'm pretty much obsessed with bikes as well. So everybody, I got to get this shop emptied out. I appreciate you coming along with me, and don't go anywhere, because I'll be back. Take care.